Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Parma Area Chamber of Commerce podcast web series. And this week, we're going to talk about our luncheon for November. November 29th is our luncheon, sponsored by Idea Cleveland, myself actually. So, we're going to talk about marketing, but marketing for you, the small business owners in our chamber. And our special guest this week is going to really enlighten you on how to get started.
I'm Ann Ginn, and I am based in the Cleveland area and do consulting and educating on marketing strategies, content marketing, social media, that whole big umbrella. So I'm looking forward to getting together with everybody at the chamber.
That's awesome. So as you and I, we kind of work in that marketing world type of thing. We meet clients that don't have time for social media. They don't know how to start with social media. Marketing is, a lot of people don't know the difference between marketing and advertising even.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we going to get our members a little bit into the front door of what marketing is and how to build a strategy for their businesses?
Yeah. So we're going to look at building a one-page strategy. And I think that idea that you need a guiding paper, a guiding direction to go through so that you can make better informed decisions. So often you start talking about social media, right? And they think everybody kind of leans towards that as marketing. Well, that may be the best choice for your business. And there's an aspect of it that may be the best, but are you doing it deliberately from that? And so a marketing strategy can really save time in the long run. It does take some time up front, but it can save time in the long run because you have a guiding direction. And it's more effective, right? If you have a strategy and know where you're going, usually you have a better chance of getting there than if you just start driving and don't know where you're going and just know you should be driving kind of thing.
Awesome. Why don't you tell our viewers a little about yourself and how you got started and why you have a passion for teaching people about the one-page strategy?
Yeah. So I've started in journalism, asking questions and looking for answers. And then I've been on the marketing side for many years now. But where I work with clients, so I work with the Content Marketing Institute is one of my clients, where I write and edit for them. So I also get to learn at the same time. And then I have other clients that bring me in for strategies and other work, related work around that. But what I find is most people don't start with the strategy. They may call me and say, we need somebody to be a writer for us or write some articles, write a blog, or post, help us with social media. And what they forget, they think about the tactic before they think about the strategy. And so that's where I help them, whether it's asking questions, even if I'm writing for them, when I was doing more writing, what questions, who's your audience, that kind of understanding what their goals are. And that led to questions that they may not have considered before because they're so busy running their business that aspect of it they hadn't gotten into.
Interesting. So you're gonna present on a one pager, which we'll have available for everyone at the luncheon. What's one of the questions? What's your favorite question on the sheet that really stirs people that don't understand marketing, that kind of gets their mind flowing? Oh, I didn't even think about this. This is a marketing strategy. This should be what I should be doing and putting some effort into it.
I think the biggest thing is who's your audience? Because it sounds like the answer would be simple, right? Anyone who wants to buy our product or service. And maybe it's a geographic area from that. But really kind of drilling down into who you're focusing on as the buyer. Would you sell to anyone who wants to buy from you? Of course, you're going to do that. But marketing isn't about reaching everybody. It's reaching the specific audience that you think, in most cases, it's reaching an audience that's most likely to buy from you. And that's where I think a lot of people don't want to limit themselves. They see it as limiting by identifying their narrow audience when really it's an expansion and it opens up the opportunities because you can be more specific, more relatable and things if you narrow your audience rather than just saying anyone can buy our product or service. That's great. You'll still make the sales if they come into your business or if they order online or whatever it is, but marketing is about being more effective than just opening your doors.
Yeah. And then when you start narrowing down to your, what they call the ideal client, that's what a lot of marketers like to use that phrase.
Yep.
You start using their jargon. You go where they're at.
Right.
Maybe it's social media. Maybe your ideal client's on Instagram. Then it kind of guides your whole purpose and your whole plan, right?
Right. And more importantly, your prospective customers hear that in you, right? You speak their language. We all like to go someplace where we feel familiar. And even if it's not a physical going someplace, even if it's online, right? I want somebody who kind of understands me. And by whether it's using the language or speaking to my pain points, I suddenly now feel like they get me. And so I'm more likely, if when the need comes for me to buy it, their product or service, I'm more likely to choose them. They're more memorable to me. I'm going to remember, oh yes, they sent me this email or this, that kind of thing. And they seem to understand what I'm looking for or who I am and why I need this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, one of the examples I like to talk about is Nike with Colin Kaepernick. There's a lot of people that thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe Nike's aligning themselves with Colin Kaepernick. But Nike looked at it and says, no, we're aligning ourselves with our ideal customers.
Right.
The people that wear Nikes support Colin Kaepernick. We're going to support Colin Kaepernick. So maybe you saw online and people are burning their shoes and claiming they're never going to buy Nikes again. But ultimately, that decision led to a stock rise. It led to more sales because they aligned themselves with their community.
And they knew their community, right? It wasn't reactionary it was a reaction in one sense, but Nike wasn't like, oh, I wonder how our customers feel about this. They knew who their target customer, who their most important customers were, and they knew how they felt because they'd already explored and detailed who their audience is. They weren't starting from scratch to saying, I wonder if this issue is something our audience cares about. They already knew it. So they could expedite it, right? They didn't take months of research to figure it out and then come back a year later and say, oh yes, right. We're going to align ourselves with Colin from that kind of stuff. And one of the exciting things with small businesses is you have a better time to react. You don't have those layers of decision makers. But if you don't know who your audience is that you're really focusing on, you're never going to get there because you're not going to spend the time to do the research at that moment, in that moment, when an opportunity, whether it's something like that or it's a seasonal opportunity or something comes along to do that, you have to know your audience before that.
So that was just one question.
It is.
And then what did you say? There's about 7 or 8 questions?
Yeah, so there's a 7-step process. One of the things is understanding your business and what your business goals are. So sometimes that sparks a conversation of what are our operating goals? What are our business goals? And going all the way all the way to the end, which looks at metrics and reporting and how do we evaluate our marketing success or challenges from that. That's one of the areas that's kind of often gets forgotten is we've got this great plan, we've implemented it, and then we get to the end. Is it successful from that? And there's ways to measure it that go beyond just sales. And that's where sales are important, but there's also some other aspects that we'll talk about in the session of what other things you should be looking at and measuring.
Yeah, metrics are so important. I mean, there's business owners that slam thousands of dollars in the Facebook ads, and then at the end of the day, don't even know what they're getting out of it.
Right.
Metrics it's so important these days. And if you're investing money into something, you should know what you're getting back.
Mm-hmm. It's the easiest thing to let fall off the shelf too, right? Of your to-do list, because you see everything else. You see the social media posts, you see if it's an ad, you see the newsletter that goes out, you see that stuff and you know you've got to create and send it, but you don't nobody's asking to look at the numbers except yourself in a small business. So you got to force yourself to do it. And so we'll talk a little bit about how to do that.
So, all right. So November 29th is Luncheon. It's going to be over in Seven Hills at the City Hall. Come out, learn, have some delicious food, and join Ann and I for lunch. Hope to see you there.
Looking forward to it.